Hey, good morning guys. This morning we're going to be beginning with our fourth cutting alfalfa. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the disc bind here and head on out to the field. Just a little bit about this machine. This is a New Holland H7450 center pivot disc bind. And what I mean by center pivot is that it can shift from side to side from the tractor. It sends it back and forth. You'll see it makes it easier when I go to turn and start a new direction. We head in the other way. Right now the mower's just sitting on the ground because I don't have the hydraulics up, but it moves up and down and side to side. These little bars here, first it goes through a set of blades, and then these are some crimping and rolling bars that eventually bring the hay out and set it down to dry. So now that it's sinking to the ground, as you can hear, let's get this show on the road. Made it out to the first field. Only one of two fields that we're going to be doing. We already knocked out a couple fields for our fourth cutting. When you harvest alfalfa, you want to try and get it cut about every 28 days, and when it starts to get this purple flower on it, you know that it's time to get cut. And honestly, we're probably a little bit late on this field, so there might be a slight impact on nutritional quality. Anyways, usually with our alfalfa we try and get about 5 or 6 cuttings off a year, and the bulk of those cuttings go towards feed for the cows, the alfalfa haylage that we use. And cuttings 1, 2, and 3 we all chopped, and 5 and 6 we'll chop, but this fourth cutting we're actually going to be baling. That'll go towards bales that we'll sell or possibly use for feed. We have a little bit of surplus alfalfa throughout the year, which is a good thing to make sure you keep your cows fed. I'm going to start by opening up the field, going around the headlands 6 times, which is enough for me to turn the tractor and pivot the mower around when I'm doing my crossroads. So here we go. That's 6 laps around the field. We got it opened up. Crop feels good. Now we can just do the straightaway back and forth rows. Field done, about 25 acres down. Now I'm going to go on the other side of this lane and do the other 24 acres. It's not so easy getting a lot of footage here while I'm mowing, so I apologize for that, but it is an open air tractor and it gets real noisy in there. pushing almost 50 acres that I've laid down this morning. I'm gonna go in and get some lunch, and I'll be back out here with the tedder in a little bit. I got a nice scare on the way in from the field. The field's only about a mile or so away, but about the last half mile, I was noticing some tire issues. Looks like I cracked the rim on this back tire, and that's just nothing but wear and tear, and I had to limp this thing back in, but we were very fortunate to have all of the hay mowed for a while. We won't need this this tractor running on this mower for another 28 days, so we're gonna get a new rim this afternoon and it'll be up and running. But thankful, it could have been a lot worse. I got the tedder out here now. We're gonna go ahead and ted a field. Dad tedded the first field I mowed this morning. We're gonna ted the second one here. This machine basically just fluffs out the hay. It gets air in every little crevice or whatever, because drying time is crucial, especially in dry hay production. Got the tedder flipped down now, and we're off and ready to run. You can see the difference here. This is the hay just as I had mowed it this morning, and then this is the other field. You can see that Dad tedded this morning. There's a lot more difference. It's a little bit more spread out. It's already drier in color. It's had a little bit more drying time, so it's really important that we get this done. Something that's really important about tedding alfalfa too is that unlike other types of hay, the most valuable nutritious part of the plant is in the leaves. So if you ted your alfalfa more than once, that's going to be enough to just shake the leaves right off the plant, and there won't be any nutritional value hardly left when you go to bale it. So we only ted our alfalfa one time. If we were chopping this for feed for the cows, then we wouldn't ted it at all, but it can tolerate one tedding if you're gonna bale it. A couple differences I'll point out from when we were mowing this morning. First of all is just the level of comfort. Probably went from about the loudest tractor environment to the softest tractor environment there is just by switching tractors. You'll also notice that there's no broken rim or damaged tires on this one. Then the other thing is, you know, we go a lot slower when we're tedding, you know, stick around 5 miles an hour or so, but this tedder covers about 2.5 times the width that a mower would, so it really goes a lot faster even though you're driving slower. You can see even after I've tedded some of this alfalfa, there's still some bare spots in the field, and that's because with each subsequent cutting of the alfalfa, the yield comes back a little bit lower and lower each time. First cutting yields very high, and by the time you get down to fifth cutting, fifth to sixth I should say, depending on the year, it gets a little bleak. And a seeding of alfalfa will give you a good 2 to 3 years in a field, so you know, maybe when it comes back that second or third year, it's not as strong, but say like the last cutting of the first year will yield less than the first cutting of the next year. That's just how it works, being a perennial plant. We got this second alfalfa field here tedded, so now it's just up to let Mother Nature take its course and continue to dry out this field, and we'll continue to monitor it some tonight and tomorrow, check and see how the drying process goes. I'm not gonna lie, having corn on both sides of the lane here makes it just a little bit more intimidating than usual, but there's nothing wrong with that. The tire guys were here this morning, so now we have a new rim and new tire on the back here. There's 4440, so she is all good to go, although we don't need her anymore right now, so she'll go back in the shed. And here are the remnants of our fallen soldier. It is now the evening time. There's enough dew getting ready to settle down on the alfalfa, so that'll give me a chance to get this first field raked and keep the leaves and everything intact. All right guys, how about that? We are up and running. I got a couple windrows done so far, putting a sizable dent in this field when you figure in the headlands too. A little bit about this rake. This is a Kloss double rotary rake. Some double rakes have side delivery like this one. Others will have a rotor on each side and do center delivery. We prefer the side delivery. This rake is PTO powered, and it's the teeth spin around and lines it up in a windrow that way, as opposed to like your V rake or your wheel rake. Those ones are ground driven. We also have a single width rake that we use as well. The trouble is, really, this tractor is about as far as it goes when you consider strong lights for nighttime raking, so we just run the double at night. What a rake does, first of all I should say, is it takes the bits of hay and it lines it up into a neat windrow, so that whoever is baling the hay can just take it in these dense windrows, and saves them a lot of time baling the field. When you bale for dry hay, you tend to prefer a tighter windrow. It just accommodates the baler better. If we were chopping this alfalfa, then we would want to do a looser windrow, almost kind of have the two between, like touching and not quite their own windrow, if that makes sense. 5 miles an hour, and I'm getting about the last of any light here. Well, it's finally the last pass for this mad rakist here. Feels pretty good. It's go time. Can you even say you were doing field work at night if you don't run your beacons down the road? I mean, come on guys, what are we doing? That's gonna do it for me tonight on this raking job. Tomorrow, I think we're gonna try a little experiment. I'm not gonna be on the camera at all tomorrow. I'm gonna turn it over to my dad and Jill. They've been a little antsy about wanting to do some themselves, which I think is a great idea. I want this account to be a family thing, not just a me thing. maybe they've been a little hesitant about trying out the GoPro here, but I think it's gonna be really cool. Let's see what they can come up with. Peace out, guys.